economic crisis, or indeed both? Well, earlier I spoke to Asanga Abeyagoonasekera, a senior fellow at the Washington, D.C.-based Millennium Project. He's also an analyst on Sri Lankan geopolitics. This is what he thinks the main causes are behind what's going on.
There's two concerns of the economic crisis, which was a liquidity issue and an insolvency issue. There was no money to pay for the large borrowings, the debt that Sri Lanka has, and there's no foreign exchange reserves. So the people are suffering because there's no essentials. And people, for the first time in Sri Lanka, you see that thousands of them and gathering in different places. And this has multiple factors of the regime, which is of a heavy autocratic grip with significant militarization, as well as suppression of democracy in the country. So it was going out of control. And what you would see is the democratic backsliding, I would say, as the key factor, which the government had an ultra-nationalist policy prescription, an inward policy prescription, which they were rejecting multiple foreign assistance. IMF is the best case because we would have gone to IMF some time back. But what kept them away was that ultra-nationalist policy prescription. So they rejected multiple grants and also multiple projects. And Sri Lanka had, due to the pandemic, they also had a serious effect to their tourism industry, which they depend heavily, as well as the remittances. So all of these together, as well as loans from external countries with opaqueness and transparency, such as from China, has a serious impact to the Sri Lankan economy.
So let's talk about the long-term outlook of what needs to be done in a moment, but let's just talk about immediate relief. What could possibly happen next, and what is Sri Lanka seeking to do?
Well, all of the ministers have resigned, the cabinet ministers, so they're looking for an interim government. Basically, the prime minister has to resign. And based on that, the president would call for the new prime minister. That's according to the constitution. The interim government, I think, would need to immediately sort the issue, which is the economic crisis. But here is the problem where the people I interviewed, what they are saying is that they don't want to see the old faces. They want a beginning. They want a fresh beginning. They want new faces, which is a very challenging. So I think the Rajapaksas need to step down and basically, hand over to an interim government.
And if that was to happen, what you're suggesting, could you see a situation where Sri Lanka would be happier with the demands from the IMF?
Yeah, I think so. There is no other option. But the IMF, again, for them to, I think, give the loans as well as all that, whatever the relief packet, they need to have a government in place.
And also that would entail calling another election.
Exactly, yes. But even for elections, you need to have the country functioning. There is no funds at all for elections. There is no, even for the daily essentials, the fuel, the ships that are there, even on the port, they don't have money to clear the goods. So there is a huge breakdown of the entire system. If the IMF and the relief operation as well as does not happen, there will be many deaths. And I'm concerned that it would get into a situation, it is already out of control. But you can see all the signals basically going in a direction where complete chaos happens.
Asanga Abeyagoonasekera speaking to me earlier.